Hello, hello, welcome to DynaMarisa. This isn't going to be a speedrun attempt, per se. This is more tutorials on the speedrun in and of itself. I'm starting at the title screen because there is a cutscene skip at the start of the game. It's basically the only cutscene in the game you can skip, so I'm just going to start the game. And so you can see, cutscenes running. It's actually a rather entertaining cutscene. In order to skip it, all you have to do is hit the right mouse button. And just as an example of how quickly you can skip this thing, you see she ran there. You can skip it by then. You can skip it even earlier than that. The best skip for the cutscene is if you don't even see anything. So yeah, that's the very first thing of the speed run. Second thing of the run is going through and selecting weapons. When you go into select weapons, you've got two weapons. Weapon 1 is what you will automatically be equipped with when you go into a mission. Weapon 2 is, think of it as your secondary weapon. You will have to switch to weapon 2 in order to use it. And then you just swap back and forth between weapon 1 and weapon 2. I'm just going to show off the weapons that we don't use so that you can compare with the weapons that we do use. And I'll use this time to also explain movement controls. You've got W, A, S, and D for standard movement. You also have Shift, which allows you to jump. And Spacebar allows you to roll. You can roll in any direction. And I do mean any direction. Even if you're holding down two directions at the same time, you can roll in a diagonal direction. The important thing about the roll is it's the only way you can run. After a roll, you have to continue holding down forward, W. As soon as you do anything other than hold down forward, like shoot, you stop running. I have not yet done any real comparison as to whether rolling or running is faster. Something to keep in mind. I find just running tends to get you pretty darn far. The rolling just, I don't know, it just feels slower. But as I said, needs testing. So the first weapon they start you off with is I think it's referred to as the yin-yang rifle. It's a machine gun. It's not bad. Not great, but it's not bad. We can go over the stats of it later. They also start you off with this rocket launcher, which can knock yourself down. For being a rocket launcher, it also doesn't do nearly as much damage as one might think. It also does not have a very large area of effect. Oh, apparently you can also kill yourself with it. So that's another reason not to use it. I was actually not aware of that. So the rocket launcher is a lot more dangerous than I gave it credit for. When we go into select weapons, when you left-click on the weapon, it doesn't automatically set it. Instead, it just selects the weapon. If you left-click on any other weapon, you now have swapped the weapon positions. In order to actually equip the weapon, you have to left-click it, and then left-click it again. Essentially double-click. So, at the very start of the game, before we do anything else, we skip the cutscene, and then we immediately come in, and we equip the Punisher 10, which is a shotgun, and the Red Spear, which is, they call it spear gun. It's a sniping rifle. It's a sniper rifle. Long range, decent damage. I mentioned going over the weapon stats, and since we've got the weapons here at the very start of the game, might as well go over them with you. There's a couple of things to keep in mind when going over the damage output of the weapon. A lot of people like the term DPS, damage per second. For DynaMarisa, I find damage per 10 seconds works a little bit better. Reason being, some weapons can only fire 1 round per second, 1 shot per second. So, for example, this rocket launcher would do all of 100 power per second. Except that it has a 2-second recharge time. So, it's not all that accurate, because once you fire off your 2 shots, then you've got 2 seconds of no damage. So taking into account the recharge rate, the magazine size, and the firing rate, 10 seconds seems to be a pretty good time frame for determining how much damage the weapon is actually going to do compared to other weapons over a period of time. Sure, we could extend that out to 1 minute, 2 minutes, an hour. There's 10 seconds, I think, is a good lowest common denominator. Some weapons will fire off all their shots in 10 seconds. Some of them will fire them all off and then get a second recharge and so can continue firing. So looking at the weapon, you've got power. That's how much damage each shot does. Mag size is the size of the magazine. How many shots you get before you need to recharge or reload. So a full magazine firing of the rocket launcher, the Shine, would be 200 damage. Fires 1 shot per second. So the full magazine takes 2 seconds to fire, and then 2 more seconds to recharge. So 4 seconds, you're back to the start. 6 seconds, you fired off 2 full magazines. 8 seconds, you fully recharged. So 10 seconds, you would have 3 full firings of your magazine, which would be 600 damage. The machine gun that we started with, magazine size of 60, fires 10 rounds per second. So it would take 6 seconds for the whole magazine to be fired. It then takes an additional 1.5 seconds to reload, which would leave us with 2.5 seconds remaining in that 10-second timer, which would give us another, 25 rounds? So we would get off all of 85 shots, and each shot, if they all landed, would do 15 damage. Total everything up, you have 1,275 damage. Already, in 10 seconds, this rifle is outputting more damage than the rocket launcher. That doesn't bode well for the rocket launcher. The Red Spear. Magazine size of 8, 1 round per second, 8 seconds to fire the whole thing, 3.5 seconds to recharge, you're now over the 10 seconds. So it would do a total of 800 damage. It's just as powerful in 10 seconds as the rocket launcher, without the risk of blowing yourself to smithereens. The shotguns, on the other hand, are slightly more difficult to calculate. Magazine size, firing rate, recharge, that's all pretty much the same. Looking at the magazine size and magazine size, fire rate, recharge, we're going to get one magazine off in the 10 seconds. And then we're going to be recharging for the rest of the 10 seconds. So we would get 8 shots. But what is the 20 times 10? 20 is the damage each bullet does. But it fires 10 shots. 20 damage times 10. So if every shot lands from one firing, it would do 200 damage. And we get 8 shots of this. So the shotgun, if everything hit, would do 1,600 damage, 1,600 damage in 10 seconds. I think you can tell why the shotgun is one of the better weapons for the speedrun. You are going to be doing considerably more damage with this thing. It also has the added benefit if, say, the first 3, say it only takes 3 bullets to blow up one of the enemies with the shotgun, you still have 7 more bullets continuing on to the enemy behind it. So you're going to be taking out a lot more enemies. Question probably comes up, why do we use the red spear instead of the sniping rifle instead of the machine gun? There is a range limit to your weapons. Machine gun can fire 120 meters, rocket launcher 1200, the shotgun 60, and the red spear 1200 meters. At some point in the game, there's a number of stages where you are going to need to be able to shoot things that are considerably far away from you. Machine gun can't do it. Shotgun can't do it. So you're left with either the rocket launcher or the red spear. Rocket launcher really isn't that accurate. The precision is how far off the center point where you're aiming can these shots go. For a shotgun, there is no precision. It's going everywhere. For the machine gun, precision of C, when I was firing off the machine gun, you could see those bullets were going pretty much everywhere. Rocket launcher has a precision of B. You're probably going to hit the general area of what you're trying to hit. But if you're trying to go for a precision shot, like, say, over a really long range, you're not hitting it. End of discussion. So we go with the red spear. The other reason we go with the sniping rifle, there is a more powerful version, technically 2 more powerful versions of the sniping rifle. One in particular that we use for the majority of the run, because it does so much more damage. That particular gun also has a precision of A+. It is the highest precision in the game, and it's being able to hit what you're trying to hit is going to be extremely useful later in the game. Okay, so going over the cutscenes, movement, weapon explanations, and yeah. Thank you everyone who came to the stream. Thank you anyone watching the individual level tutorials, and take care everyone.